It's pretty difficult for things to annoy me, and there aren't a lot of things that make me really mad. But one thing that really grinds my gears is class introductions. I'm glad I didn't have to do one this year, because if I have to give another presentation talking about 5 words that describe me, I'm gonna fucking kill someone. Like, I'll do the thing where you say your name and something that you like. That's not a problem. But the teacher's got the whole class turned to me, and then she asks, "What'd you do over the summer?" And usually it's fucking nothing, so I just said that I didn't do anything interesting. And then they're like, "Well, there must have been something interesting." I'm just like, "Nah, I just play video games." And they're like, "Did you go anywhere?" And in my head I'm thinking, I would have fucking said that. Like, I would have mentioned it so we can move on to the next person. Anyways, I said, "Nah, I didn't." The teacher just stares at me, and there's this like long awkward pause. I look over to my friend, and he's just like, "Don't look at me." So I was just sitting there for what felt like an hour before she finally moved on to the next person. So yeah, that teacher was annoying for that. And about the PowerPoint thing, when I was in 8th grade, I had to make a PowerPoint about myself, and one of the slides had to be like 5 words that describe us. So I was just sitting there trying to make this PowerPoint, and I couldn't come up with anything. So I look over, and there was a girl sitting next to me, and I asked her if she had anything written down. She said, "Nah, this was stupid." I said, "True." And then I looked over to the guy in front of me, and I saw that he was writing things down. So I said, "Hey, what do you have?" And I remember he said spontaneous, bright, and all this other shit that just doesn't relate to me. I cut him off real quick, and I was like, "Okay, buddy." But anyways, fast forward to the day when we had to present. I, of course, had to go after Mr. Spontaneous, who put like baby photos and things about his dogs and all his siblings. Took up like half the class period, and it was pretty cringe when that happened. But what made it worse is that later on in the year, when we actually saw how he acted, bro would get mad at the smallest things. Like, if you try to help him out and point out that like, "Hey, you got that question wrong or something, you should probably fix it," he'd be like, "Oh, I don't need your help. You think you're so smart," and shit like that. And like, we had these laptops, and I would leave mine open, not unlocked or anything, but just like sitting there. And at the beginning of class, I would go over to like talk to my friends or something. Homeboy would just like close my laptop for no reason. Like, he'd slam it shut. I was just like, okay. Yeah, I don't really know what happened to him. I never had any other classes with him after that. No, I went on a rant about that kid, but I just wanted to mention it because he was fucking weird. Anyways, I had to go up there and follow that up with the blandest and most boring presentation. Like, shit, I don't even remember what I wrote down for the 5 words. Like, if I were to do it now, I would have probably said some dumbass shit like the GOAT, the king of gaming, the king of YouTube, the realest gamer on the internet, the 100% fact spitter, the higher level thinker, the king of anime, the king of manga, and the one who's better than you in every way. But anyways, this other time, a teacher just said that we had to say our name and give a couple things that we like to do. And while she was going around the class, I noticed that, every dude just said, video games, and then some bullshit like, soccer or something. So when it was my turn, I just said the same thing. I like playing video games, and I like skateboarding. And of course, right as I was about to sit down, she said, "I'm tired of everybody saying video games. Can you give something else?" And I was fucking pissed. She was like, "Don't you like hiking or something?" And I just said, "Yeah, I mean, I guess." And she was like, "No, seriously, like, isn't there something else you like to do?" I said, "No, not really," thinking that she was just gonna end it on that. But nah, she had me doing the most. She was all like, "Do you play an instrument or draw?" I said no. And then after that, she was like, "Wow, you guys aren't fun." And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, what the fuck? What type of bullshit? And there were some kids in that class who would like do drugs and just didn't give a fuck about school, who I know that if the teacher was grilling them that hard, they would have probably said some out of pocket shit. And of course, to pour salt in the wound, there was some girl who went after me. She was like, "Oh, I went to the Bahamas, did this, and that." And I was like, "Bruh, why the fuck couldn't you have gone before me?" God was really not on my side that day. But anyways, this next little story, I guess, that I got wasn't actually from me giving a introduction. The teacher's reason for making us do this was like, "Oh, it's to prepare you for having to give speeches and shit for like a career or something, and to make the presentation a little easier to do." He said we can do it on something we were interested in, and it was a pretty easy 100. The assignment was easy as fuck, except somebody was fucking talking about me, man. From then on, people started calling me fucking Skater Boy, and I'm not gonna lie, that shit made me fucking mad. That shit was corny as fuck. Like, this one time, I was playing basketball in gym, and some kid who was playing basketball on the other side of the court accidentally threw his ball to our side, and I didn't notice, but the ball landed like right next to me. So the dude called out to me, he said, "Hey," and I didn't know he was talking to me yet, but then he said, "Hey, Skater Boy," and I instantly stopped what I was doing, and I turned around, I was like, "Who the fuck is calling me that?" Because I thought it was one of my friends. And then that dude was like, "Hey, can you pass the ball back?" I said, "Alright, but don't call me that." He said, "Oh, I thought that's just what people called you." I said, "Fuck no, what the hell? That shit corny as fuck." So yeah, that's why I don't like giving presentations. I'll never give a presentation talking about skateboarding again, and God forbid I ever have to make one about video games, because then people will be going around calling me fucking gamer. I mean, it's whatever now. That shit only lasted like 2 weeks, but still.
Hey, this weed got me thinking, it also got me spinning. Consistently whipping, I be in the fucking kitchen. TK wings, bitch, the way I get this chicken. Mama said if you want it, then